they had a substitute, they were told that that teacher was still in the HR process, going through the HR process to, I guess, officially become the teacher at this school. Are you aware of that, if any other teachers are going through that process, and maybe why they didn't finish the process before the first day of school?
I don't know about that particular, obviously a very unique case since we had only, 30 vacancies and all these extra teachers. We did have 88 absences, known absences. People do get sick even on the first day of school and things like that. So that's why those schools will have had substitutes, but I can't speak to the one individual you're talking about. Now, HR is still trying to fill these vacancies, and we're going to get even more extra teachers through the next several weeks. So there's still going to be some HR action over the next month.
I know you mentioned you're seeing progress with the vacancies. How does the first week of school compare to the beginning of the summer?
Yeah, so we were able to do some really good recruitment through a performance interview and rigorous process, and we were able to get down to 28, I believe was yesterday's number. So we think that's a really good sign of the recruitment process that we had over the summer.
And there's 30 now? There was 28 yesterday, there's 30 now?
Yeah, and there's 30 now, 28 yesterday, 30 now. And that number will fluctuate a little bit all the time, again, because of, like the person who's processing, they may come on board tomorrow, right? And so keep in mind we have 10,640 teachers, so we'll keep that in perspective.
Next question, Margaret.
Yesterday, there was the round number of about 180 of the number of warm bodies, as you put it.
Yeah, I was.
Get updated?
Yeah, I was low. I'm going to get an update. I was loath to give that number out, and I think that number is inaccurate. So we'll get you a real number once we get further into the year.
Ms. Saiba.
Can you provide a beginning of the year enrollment number and how many students are in the district?
Yeah, same problem. I did that last year. So no, I cannot give you a number right now. Let the dust settle for a little bit, and then we'll give you enrollment numbers, because that number fluctuates so, hour by hour.
One of my colleagues wants to know about just expanding on EduLog. Just asking, what services did the district expect, given the cost of the software at around about $1 million? What was the district expecting that EduLog provided?
Yeah, so actually the team has been working with EduLog all for the last 6 months, I believe. And in any case, I had a talk with Sam Bull, the CEO. We work closely with EduLog to try to improve the system. It can't be done in a few months. I've been saying this. And so they're going to continue to partner with us and collaborate. And their main collaboration with us is route optimization. But it's a very complex system, right? So part of it is the platform, part of it is route optimization, part of it is helping with scheduling, just all kinds of things. That's why we hired them. And so I think we're working well. We'll continue to work well, and we'll continue to improve our routes.
Daniel.
Do you have a rough number of how many schools have any issues with the AC today? And is there a message for parents that, their children are studying with this heat?
Yeah, so 274 schools open, and none of them had to close. I don't have the number of classrooms that may or may not have been warm, but I can tell you if we don't send kids home, they're safe. It's not too warm. And so I think that's been a huge success, given that we've had these challenges with our aging facilities.
Any other question? Go ahead.
Do you have a count for how many uncertified teachers there are this year?
I don't have an accurate account of that yet, but so let's send that to you. I've been cautioning myself of giving too many numbers because they always turn out to be a little bit off. So I want to be careful.
Ms. Saiba.
What retention strategies are in place, in light of years-long declining enrollment in HISD? I mean, are there retention strategies for students? Are you collecting feedback from families who are pulling their kids from HISD and going elsewhere?
So, we just started. Every year, you have kids enrolling all the way till Labor Day. That distresses me as a person who wants kids to show up on day one. But, people have different circumstances and may not arrive until a little bit later after the start of school. So before we analyze the enrollment and before we talk about retention strategies, let's see where the dust settles.
Margaret.
I have two questions on the bond issue. One is, as we saw today at least one of the schools, it's kind of wide open. So, and there's been this big push in the bond issue on added security. So could you talk about how you're going to provide added security for campuses where there are separate buildings, where kids are walking out in the open and not in a contained building?
Yeah, so let everybody know that, I have to be very careful. I cannot advocate for the bond, and so I won't be doing that. I can give information, so I can answer your question in broad strokes, which is we put forward a proposal in the bond for safety and security. One of those things, and it has to do with every building is a little bit different, but the safety and security means where we have a single point of entry, a vestibule, that's the state of the art on safety in the entrance, and then we have secure fencing around some campuses. Those are the sorts of things that we placed in the bond package when we talk about safety and security of our schools.
Okay, so places that don't have one point of entry, though, because
Yeah, so every school. I mean, I think it's in the. It is in the bond proposal, which schools are getting what, and so yes, the safety and security has to do with that. If we feel like there needs to be for the bond proposal, schools that don't have a single point of entry, you're likely to see that in the proposal for the bond.
okay, the other question about the bond is mostly what we've been talking about as schools start has been transportation. But improvements to transportation didn't make the cutoff to be included in the bond issue. So how do you make the improvements of facilities there and everything else other than cutting the routes when it's not in the bond issue, which you can't talk about?
Right. We don't need to talk. We can talk about transportation without talking about bonds, so let me do that. Transportation, it's partly systemic, as we talked about, and so we're paying for that already through our general operating revenue because it's important investment to fix our system. And so that, for example, the partnership with Edulog, we're paying out of the general fund, and that's an important collaboration to help us fix our transportation system.
So how do you fix the rundown facilities of several of the bus stops?
Mm-hmm. So what we did last year when I visited the bus barns, you'll remember, I was frustrated with the facilities being old, cramped, and so we've already moved some more modular construction to two of the sites and have shifted some of the operations to those newer, better modulars. So we still have work to do on the facilities for transportation, but that's what we've done so far.
Any other questions?
Some parents have reached out to us with concerns about landscaping issues or tall grass and debris near some of the schools. One of them is T.H. Rogers and J. Herrera Elementary School. Some parents have even taken upon themselves to help with some landscaping. Are you aware of these issues, or is the district doing anything to help with that?
Yeah, thankful for any community members who have helped out, and I know there's principals have organized not landscaping, but beautification projects or grass cutting or moving this or that. But our maintenance team has been able to cut all the grass prior to the Monday. There's still some grass that's, what do you call it when the grass is already cut but it's lying on the ground? So,
Dead grass.
yeah, there's some dead grass, thank you, Margaret, on the ground, but we're working our way through that as well. Keep in mind, guys, we lost most of July. Not only was it a derecho, and we had to get rid of that debris, then there was a hurricane, we had to get rid of that debris, and we had to move trees. Even the city has not moved all the debris. There's debris everywhere because it's a large district and a lot of trees and a lot of debris. And so you'll see some of the debris piled on a side in some places, out of the way, out of kids' harm, so that they're not going to harm kids. And so, yes, we have some debris we still have to remove, but we feel pretty comfortable that the schools look fairly well, and give us some time and we'll be able to get them back to normal.
And that collaboration is still with solid waste, right? You guys are continuing that.
Yeah, there's been a number of groups that we've worked with. The city has helped, the county has helped, and so yeah, we've had a lot of collaboration.
Yeah, does HISD plan to release its campus ratings now that ratings have been paused?
Yes, is a short answer. Look, we think we and other districts should be transparent, especially with data and especially with accountability. And so we've already released, as you know, the district level data because we have the capability to follow the methodology and report on our accountability ratings, which we have done. What we haven't done is given the school rating yet. And then the other districts could also do this or get technical assistance from the state and also produce their own data. But we've produced data already, and we think it's in the best interest, again, because of full transparency and using data to help improve instruction, that we release the data for schools. So we won't have the final, because the final is always TEA. But we have what's called final preliminary data. We have that. We're using that, and we'll release that probably Friday. School, and I'm talking about school level accountability data. We've already released the district level accountability data, in which we went from 121 DNF campuses to 41, which is a great celebration and a great tribute to our teachers and kids.
We have another question for KPSC.
Yeah, running back to the HVAC issue really quickly, you mentioned that no schools have had to be closed yet, but maybe some classrooms have had to shuffle around.
Correct.
Can you talk about the metrics that you use to make those determinations, what the threshold is for closing a school and closing the classroom?
Yeah, so generally we look at 82 degrees to be too hot. I mean, it's not dangerous, but it's too warm for a kid to concentrate or a teacher to teach well. So that's warm, but there's a balance somewhere, and we think that's the line. So we'll move classrooms, and we use temperature guns, not just this feels warm, because just like a family in a house, somebody might think it's warm, the partner might think it's cold. So we don't do it that way. We use a temperature gun, and that's how we do it. Now, look, we are trying even then to try to get schools to a comfortable, 73, 74 degrees. That's about what we can do in the summer. I was in both Mitchell Elementary School and Thomas. Were kind of cool today. They were probably around 68 degrees. And then you walk outside and it's like 90 some degrees. So we're going to try to do the best we can to get the kids comfortable so that they're in a good learning environment and they can focus on the instruction.
Any other question? Okay. Thank you.
All right, thank you, everybody.